A strong woman understands something most people never learn. Your happiness is your responsibility. It's not a gift someone hands you when they decide you're worth it. It's not something a man can give or take away. It's built brick by brick from your own choices, your own boundaries, and your own sense of self-worth. When you rely on a man's approval to feel good about yourself, you're giving him the keys to your emotional well-being. And once those keys are in someone else's pocket, they decide when you feel loved, when you feel valued, and when you feel enough. That is dangerous. That's how strong women get trapped in weak situations. A strong woman knows her value before anyone validates it. She doesn't wait for the compliment, the attention, or the relationship status to feel important. She walks into a room already knowing she's worthy. And that energy, that's what makes people respect her. She doesn't beg for it, she commands it. Men will always test you, intentionally or not. They'll push to see how much of yourself you're willing to give, how much you'll sacrifice just to keep them happy. And if you keep saying yes at the expense of your own joy, you're teaching them they can treat you as an accessory, not a partner. The strongest women understand that love should add to your life, not become your life. If a man enhances your happiness, good. If he threatens it, he's gone. Because a strong woman's joy is non-negotiable. It's not a bargaining chip, not a prize to be earned by someone else's approval. Stop chasing validation from men who can't even validate themselves. Stop waiting for a relationship to feel complete. You are already whole. A man can walk beside you, but never carry you, because the day you let someone else carry your happiness is the day they can drop it. Your joy is your power. Guard it, protect it, build it so high that no one's opinion can tear it down. Because a strong woman doesn't just survive without a man's approval. She thrives without it. When you give someone else the responsibility for your happiness, you are handing over the most important part of your life, your peace, your joy, your emotional stability, and putting it in their hands. That is like taking your heart, putting it in a box, and saying, "Here, you hold it. Please don't drop it." And you know what? People drop it. Not because they're always bad people, but because it was never their job to hold it in the first place. A strong woman understands this from the start. She does not wait for a man to make her feel beautiful, special, or worthy. She wakes up knowing she is already all of those things. If a man compliments her, it's nice. But it's not oxygen. She doesn't need it to breathe. That's the difference between living in emotional independence and living in emotional dependence. Too many women are taught from a young age that happiness comes after you meet the right guy, after you fall in love, after you have the relationship. We grow up seeing movies where the entire plot is about finding him, and once she does, her life is magically complete. That's a dangerous lie. Because if you believe that, you'll spend your life searching for someone to fill a hole that only you can fill. Here's the truth. If you're not happy single, you won't suddenly be happy in a relationship. Yes, you might feel a rush in the beginning, that excitement, that attention. But over time, the cracks in your own foundation will start to show. You'll start depending on him for reassurance. You'll need his texts to feel secure, his affection to feel loved, his approval to feel enough. And the moment he withdraws, whether intentionally or not, you'll feel like your entire world is falling apart. That's not love. That's dependency. A strong woman refuses to give anyone that kind of power over her. She builds her own happiness brick by brick from the inside out. She invests in her passions, her career, her friendships, her health, her peace. She creates a life so full and fulfilling that a relationship is a beautiful addition, not the foundation. That way, if the man leaves, she doesn't crumble because she never built her happiness on him to begin with. Think about it this way: your happiness is like a bank account. Every day, you can choose to deposit into it through self-care, growth, and experiences, or you can wait for someone else to make deposits for you. But here's the problem: if someone else is making all the deposits, they can also make withdrawals anytime they want. A strong woman keeps her account in her name only. And let me be clear, this is not about being cold, detached, or refusing to love. It's about understanding balance. Love can be deep and real without becoming your entire identity. You can adore someone without depending on them for your sense of worth. That's what makes a relationship healthy. Two whole, happy people choosing to share their lives, not two half-fulfilled people clinging to each other to feel complete. When your happiness is your responsibility, you stop blaming others for your feelings. You stop saying, "He didn't make me happy today," or "He ruined my mood." Instead, you ask yourself, what can I do to center myself? How can I choose peace in this moment? This mindset makes you powerful because you're no longer at the mercy of someone else's moods, actions, or words. This is where boundaries come in. If you are responsible for your happiness, you will protect it like gold. You will not allow someone to speak to you in a way that diminishes you. You will not tolerate treatment that drains your energy or steals your joy. And when you see the first signs of disrespect, you won't beg or bargain. You'll walk away because you know your peace is priceless. There's a strength in a woman who can be happy on her own. It makes her more attractive, more magnetic, because people can sense that she's with them by choice, not by need. Men respect women who respect themselves. When you show that you can stand on your own 2 feet, you automatically filter out the ones who want to control you and attract the ones who want to grow with you. But let's be honest. Choosing to take responsibility for your happiness is not always easy. It means looking in the mirror and realizing that no one is coming to save you. It means facing your own insecurities and learning how to manage them without leaning on someone else to soothe you. It means building a life you love even when there's no one clapping for you yet. The reward, though, is freedom. The reward is waking up every morning knowing that your joy is safe because it's in your hands, not someone else's. It's knowing that no man, no relationship status, no external approval can shake the peace you've built. That is the power of taking full responsibility for your happiness. So, if you're listening to this right now and you've been depending on a man to make you feel loved, I'm telling you, stop. Not because love is bad, but because your happiness is too valuable to outsource. Start pouring into yourself. Start building your life. When your joy comes from within, you will never have to fear losing it again. And that, my friend, is what makes you truly unstoppable. Before you step into any relationship, you need to answer one question. Do I know my worth without this person? If the answer is no, then you are walking into that relationship already at a disadvantage. Because when you don't know your own value, you will allow other people to decide it for you. And they will always undervalue what they don't have to earn. Self-worth is not a gift a man gives you. It's not something that magically appears when someone chooses you. It is something you must cultivate within yourself, long before you let anyone into your life. When you enter a relationship without self-worth, you are essentially walking into a negotiation where the other person sets all the terms. You'll take whatever attention, affection, or commitment they offer because you believe that's all you can get. And that belief will keep you stuck in situations where you're not truly respected. Here's the truth. People will treat you based on the standard you set for yourself. If you walk in believing you are priceless, you will not tolerate being treated like a discount item. If you believe you are rare, you won't accept behavior that's common. But if you walk in unsure of your own value, you'll find yourself compromising again and again until there's nothing left of the woman you were before. This is why self-worth must come first. It is the foundation. Without it, everything else, love, trust, passion, becomes unstable. You might have chemistry with someone, but without self-worth, you'll mistake excitement for respect. You might feel love, but without self-worth, you'll confuse attachment with loyalty. And eventually, you'll realize you're giving far more than you're getting. A strong woman knows her worth before the first date, before the first conversation, before the first compliment. She has already decided who she is, what she will tolerate, and what she will never allow. This is why strong women don't chase, they attract. When you know your worth, you move differently. You're not desperate for attention, because you're already validated from within. You're not afraid to walk away because you know your value doesn't decrease just because someone else can't see it. Now, let's be real, this isn't always easy. We live in a world that constantly tries to define women's value based on looks, age, relationship status, or whether we are chosen by a man. You've probably heard phrases like, "She's still single," said as if it's a flaw, or "She needs to find a man," as if that's the ultimate achievement. But here's the thing, those are outdated rules, and strong women rewrite the rules. When you know your worth, you stop playing by society's checklist. You stop rushing into relationships just to avoid being alone. You stop lowering your standards just to feel wanted. Instead, you wait for someone who meets you where you already are. Not someone you have to shrink for. Not someone you have to fix. Not someone you have to convince to treat you right. The way you see yourself sets the tone for how others see you. If you see yourself as valuable, you will set boundaries without guilt. You will say no without apologizing. You will expect effort without having to beg for it. And the right man will respect that, because the right man knows that a woman who values herself will also value the relationship. And here's something you need to hear: self-worth doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean thinking you're better than everyone else. It means understanding that you are enough, as you are, and you don't need to earn love by sacrificing your dignity. It's quiet confidence. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove anything because it already knows. Without self-worth, you risk building relationships on insecurity. That's when you start overcompensating, doing too much, giving too much, tolerating too much, because you're afraid of losing the little you're getting. You stay in situations that drain you because you think you won't find better. But here's the truth, when you know your worth, you'd rather be alone than be with someone who makes you feel alone. And yes, there will be times when walking away hurts. There will be moments when your self-worth demands you let go of someone you care about because they are not giving you the respect, love, or effort you deserve. In those moments, you must remember, self-worth is not about avoiding pain, it's about avoiding the wrong kind of pain. It's about enduring temporary discomfort for long-term peace. The most magnetic thing about a strong woman is that she doesn't need you to complete her, she's already complete. She chooses to be with you because she wants to, not because she has to, and that choice makes her presence more powerful, her love more genuine, and her standards unshackable. So, if you want to build strong, healthy relationships, start by building your self-worth. Invest in yourself, work on your confidence. Learn your strengths, accept your flaws, and refuse to let either define your entire value. Set standards and stick to them. And never, ever trade your self-worth for someone else's approval. Because the truth is, the right relationship will never require you to lower your worth. It will recognize it, respect it, and rise to meet it. And when you enter love from a place of knowing your value, you will attract a partner who sees you exactly as you see yourself. Priceless. A healthy relationship should feel like an addition to your life, not a replacement for it. Love should be a bonus, not the whole paycheck. Yet too often, people make the mistake of building their entire identity around the person they love. They forget who they were before the relationship, and suddenly, their hobbies, their friendships, their ambitions, everything starts revolving around this one person. That's a dangerous position to be in. Why? Because if your entire life becomes about them, you lose yourself. And once you lose yourself, you lose your voice, your boundaries, your confidence. You stop being an individual and start being a shadow. That's not love, that's dependency disguised as romance. Love is meant to complement your life, not consume it. Think of your life as a table. It should have multiple legs: your passions, your career, your health, your friendships, your growth. A relationship can be a beautiful, sturdy leg on that table, but it should never be the only one holding it up. If that single leg breaks, the whole table collapses. That's why strong women keep their tables balanced. They never allow love to be the only thing keeping them standing. When love becomes your life, you start compromising too much. You skip time with friends because he might want to hang out. You give up hobbies because they don't interest him. You let your dreams fade because they don't fit into the relationship. Slowly, without even realizing it, you shrink to fit into his world instead of building your own. And here's the truth. When you give up too much of yourself for a man, you're teaching him that your life is his to shape. A strong woman doesn't disappear into a relationship. She expands within it. She brings her own passions, her own goals, her own energy to the table. She knows that the best love is two complete lives coming together, not two half lives clinging to each other for survival. When you keep your own identity, you make the relationship stronger because you're bringing more to it, not less. It's also about respect. People respect what they can't completely control. When you have your own life, your own plans, your own boundaries, you set the tone for how you will be treated. You show that you are with someone because you choose to be, not because you have nothing else going on. That choice is powerful. It makes your presence valuable because it's intentional, not desperate. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean you shouldn't make compromises in love. Every relationship requires give and take. But there's a difference between compromise and self-erasure. Compromise is when both people adjust for each other's happiness. Self-erasure is when only one person sacrifices and the other person's life remains untouched. A strong woman knows the difference and she refuses to erase herself for anyone. This mindset also protects you from heartbreak. If love is the center of your entire world, losing it feels like losing everything. But if love is one part of a rich, full life, losing it will hurt, but it won't destroy you. You will still have your passions, your goals, your friends, your sense of self. You'll still have a reason to wake up in the morning and move forward. And here's another truth. When you make love your whole life, you put unfair pressure on your partner. You expect them to be your entertainment, your emotional support, your source of happiness, your whole purpose. That's too much for one person to carry. Healthy love allows space for both people to have lives outside the relationship. That space creates balance, respect, and desire. One of the reasons many relationships lose their spark is because the people in them stop being interesting to each other. When you give up everything else for the relationship, you stop bringing new experiences, ideas, and energy into it. But when you keep living fully, learning new things, chasing goals, spending time with friends, you keep growing. And growth is attractive. A strong woman understands that her partner is a chapter in her story, not the entire book. She writes her own life with love as a beautiful part of it, but not the whole plot. She knows that even the best love is still just one piece of the puzzle, not the entire picture. So, how do you make sure love adds to your life without taking it over? You stay rooted in your own identity. You keep nurturing the things that make you you. You protect your friendships. You maintain your independence. You keep setting personal goals that are just yours. And you remember that the person you are outside the relationship is the same person who attracted your partner in the first place. So never stop being her. At the end of the day, the strongest relationships happen between two strong individuals. People who love each other, but who also love themselves enough to keep their own lives alive. Love should not cage you. It should set you free. It should give you more reasons to be yourself, not fewer. If you've been living in a way where love is your whole life, it's time to take a step back and rebuild your balance. Pour into yourself again. Rediscover your passions. Reconnect with your friends, because the more whole and happy you are on your own, the more powerful your love will be, and the less likely you are to lose yourself in it. When love is an addition to your life, you are free. When love is your whole life, you are trapped. The choice is yours, and a strong woman always chooses freedom first, because she knows that real love will never ask her to give it up. One of the most dangerous trades a woman can make is exchanging her joy for a man's approval. It sounds small at first, just a few compromises here and there to keep him happy. But over time, you find yourself living for his nod, his smile, his validation, and somewhere along the way, you stop living for yourself. Here's the truth. When you give someone the power to approve or disapprove of your every move, you also give them the power to control your happiness. And that's not love, that's surrender. Love should never require you to abandon your own light just so someone else feels comfortable. Strong women understand that joy is sacred. It's not something you sacrifice to earn love. It's something you protect so you can give love from a place of abundance. When your joy depends on someone else's approval, you are constantly on edge, measuring your words, changing your personality, reshaping your dreams, just to keep them pleased. And that is a slow, silent kind of self-destruction. Think about it. If you have to dim your personality to fit his preferences, is it really you he loves? Or is it the version of you he molded? If you stop doing things you enjoy because he doesn't like them, you're not in a relationship. You're in a performance. And performers get exhausted. Real love allows you to be fully yourself, loud or quiet, bold or gentle, adventurous or homebody, without fear of losing the relationship. Real love doesn't make you choose between your peace and his presence. If a man's approval comes at the cost of your happiness, that approval is worthless. But here's the problem. Too many women have been taught to believe that keeping a man happy is the ultimate goal. So they silence themselves when they disagree. They avoid dressing a certain way. They stop pursuing their passions because wouldn't understand. And at first, it might seem like small sacrifices for the relationship, but over time, those sacrifices add up until you don't even recognize yourself. A strong woman refuses to make that trade. She understands that joy is fuel. It's what keeps her spirit alive. And when you run out of that fuel, the relationship will suffer anyway. You can't pour into someone else when you're running on empty. So how do you protect your joy? You start by setting boundaries, firm, unapologetic boundaries. You decide ahead of time what parts of yourself are non-negotiable. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your friendships. Maybe it's the hobbies that keep you grounded. And you make it clear through your actions that those things are staying. When a man truly values you, he will respect those boundaries. In fact, he will celebrate them because he knows that your joy is part of what makes you magnetic in the first place. The right man doesn't want a watered down version of you. He wants the woman he fell for, confident, vibrant, alive. And here's something important. Sometimes the person you need approval from the most is yourself. Because the truth is, some women don't even realize they're chasing a man's validation. They just know they feel anxious when he's distant, relieved when he's happy, and crushed when he's disappointed. That's not because they love him more. It's because they've tied their self-worth to his mood. Breaking that cycle means untangling your identity from his opinion. It means asking yourself, if I do this, will it make me happy? Or am I just hoping it will make him approve of me? It means remembering that your joy is a compass. If it's constantly pointing away from yourself, you're heading in the wrong direction. There will be moments where protecting your joy means disappointing him. And that's okay. You are not responsible for managing someone else's emotions at the expense of your own. Disagreeing, saying no, or choosing something he wouldn't choose doesn't make you difficult. It makes you real. A strong woman knows that the men who can't handle her happiness aren't her men. If your joy threatens him, it's because he's not secure enough to handle a woman who shines without his permission. And that's not your problem to fix. It's his. Here's the thing. Approval fades, but joy sustains. A man can approve of you one moment and disapprove the next. His opinion can change with his mood, his stress, his insecurities, but joy, when it's rooted in your own values and self-respect, doesn't vanish just because someone frowns at it. That's why you must never trade it. So, guard your happiness like it's priceless. Because it is. The right man will want to add to it, not take it away. The wrong man will want to control it because control gives him power. And when you keep your joy in your own hands, you keep your power too. The day you stop trading your happiness for approval is the day you take back your freedom. And the day you take back your freedom is the day you stop living for someone else and start truly living for yourself. That is when love becomes a choice, not a need. One of the greatest lies women have been told is that they are incomplete without a man, that somehow you are only whole when someone chooses you, loves you, commits to you, it's a lie that has been woven into our stories, our movies, our culture for generations. But here's the truth. You were already whole the moment you were born. You came into this world with value, with purpose, with worth. A relationship might add to your life, but it will never be the thing that makes you complete. A strong woman doesn't wait for someone to fill her up. She fills herself. She builds her life from the inside out. Her career, her passions, her friendships, her health, her faith, her personal growth. These are the bricks that make her foundation solid. A man can join her in that life, but she will never hand him the role of missing piece, because she knows there is no missing piece. When you believe you are incomplete without a man, you approach relationships from a place of need instead of choice. Need says, I have to have you, or I'll be lost. Choice says, I want you, but I'm still whole without you. Need creates desperation, choice creates power. Desperation makes you settle for less than you deserve. It makes you tolerate disrespect, neglect, even mistreatment, because the idea of being alone terrifies you more than being unhappy. That's why so many women stay in relationships that drain them. They think being without a man means they are broken, failing, or unworthy. But nothing could be further from the truth. When you live from the understanding that you are already whole, your standards rise naturally. You don't cling to someone who doesn't treat you right because you know your value isn't tied to their presence. You don't chase someone who's not putting in effort because you know your happiness isn't dependent on their attention. You stop seeing being single as a punishment, and you start seeing it as an opportunity to deepen your relationship with yourself. Being whole without him also means your identity doesn't disappear when you fall in love. You remain you, your personality, your dreams, your voice. You don't morph into whatever he needs you to be just to keep him. You bring your full self to the table and expect him to do the same. That's how healthy relationships are built. Two complete people choosing to share their lives, not two incomplete people trying to patch each other's holes. And here's something many women overlook. When you know you're already whole, you become far more attractive. Why? Because wholeness radiates confidence. It says, I'm here because I want to be, not because I need to be. Men respect that. People respect that. You're not clinging. You're standing tall. Some women hear this and think, but doesn't that mean I don't need love? No, it means you don't need unhealthy love. It means you can enjoy love without losing yourself in it. It means love becomes something that adds joy to your life instead of becoming the only source of it. And yes, it takes work to get to that place. It takes looking in the mirror and deciding that your worth is not negotiable. It takes building a life that excites you so much so that whether or not a man is in it, you still feel fulfilled. It takes reminding yourself over and over that your story is your own and no one else gets to define it. Being whole without him also changes how you handle heartbreak. When a relationship ends, you might hurt. You might even feel shattered for a while, but you will never be destroyed because you still have yourself. You still have your life, your passions, your peace. You still have the foundation you built long before he arrived. And here's the ultimate truth. A man is not your completion, he's your complement. He's not the builder of your life, he's the co-author of one chapter in it. If the chapter ends, the book continues because you were the writer all along. So stop waiting for someone to complete you. Stop believing the narrative that you're only valuable if you belong to someone. Stop thinking you need a relationship to be enough. You are enough right now. You are enough in your successes and in your struggles. You are enough when you're in love and when you're alone. The day you realize you are already whole is the day you stop settling. It's the day you stop begging for scraps of love from people who don't deserve you. It's the day you start attracting relationships that are healthy, balanced, and full of mutual respect. A strong woman never forgets she is her own foundation. A man can stand beside her, but he will never be the reason she stands. Everything we've talked about comes down to one truth. A strong woman's joy, worth, and wholeness are hers to own, not his, not theirs. hers. Your happiness is your responsibility. You cannot outsource it. If you give it away, you hand over your power. A man's love can add to your life, but it should never be the foundation holding it up. You must build your own foundation, strong, steady, and unshakable. So no matter who comes or goes, you stand. Your self-worth must be established before any relationship, because when you know who you are, you stop accepting less than you deserve. You stop begging for scraps of love from people who don't know your value. Instead, you attract those who match your standards because you've set them high and you refuse to lower them for anyone. Love should be an addition, not the whole equation. If you make someone your entire life, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose the very thing that made you magnetic in the first place. Keep your identity, keep your passions, keep your life alive outside of love. Never trade your joy for approval. Approval fades. It changes with moods, with insecurity, with time. Joy, when it's yours, is constant. Protect it fiercely. If someone's presence requires you to sacrifice your peace, their presence is too expensive. And above all, remember this: you are already whole. You were whole before him. You will be whole after him. You are not a half looking for another half. You are a complete soul, choosing whether to share your life with another complete soul. That choice is power. That choice is freedom. Strong women don't need a man to define them. They don't chase love to feel worthy. They know they are worthy first, and from that place, they choose love freely, not fearfully. So, stop waiting for someone to complete you. Stop lowering yourself to keep someone who doesn't rise to meet you. Stop believing the lie that your value depends on who stands next to you. Stand tall on your own. Let your happiness be yours. Let your worth be untouchable. Let your joy be the one thing no one can take from you. And when love comes, let it find you already whole, already powerful, already alive. Because a strong woman's joy isn't built on a man's approval. It's built on her own. And when you live like that, no man, no heartbreak, no loss can ever break you.